guns, gear, on target training out here in Oregon. Before we get started, if you enjoy our content, please like, share, subscribe, and above all, comment. We're about 700 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers. So anything you can do to help us, particularly share the channel with friends and family and invite them to subscribe as well. I've been asked by several subscribers over the last couple of weeks to talk about if I had only one choice of pistols, which one would I choose between the Smith Wesson M&P line and the Glock. And again, we're just speaking 9mm pistols right now, but you could apply this to 40, 45 ACP. So there are options out there, but I'm specifically talking about the 9mm polymer frame guns, or in Smith & Wesson's case, the M&P metal version as well. So I want to go through them, and I'm not going to give you an answer right now because, frankly, folks, I don't believe there is a perfect handgun. Both handguns, the Glocks and the M&P 9mm pistols, are really solid performers. And I want to talk to you pros and cons with each one. So I want to start and just by talking about, we're comparing sort of apples and oranges because we're comparing some of my favorite pistols. And one is the Gen 1 or the 1.0 M&P 9mm. So 4 1/4 inch barrel. This particular pistol has had 20,000 rounds or something through it. Been Cerakoted a couple of times. You can see I've worn it off in spite of that. And this gun is not stock in that it does have the original stock iron sights from Smith & Wesson, but I did upgrade the sights to put a fiber optic high-vis sight in the front. And for me, green fiber optic or green tritium really works. In addition, this pistol has had a great trigger job by BG Gunworks out in New Hampshire. I don't know BG Gunworks is any longer, if they're doing any kind of pistol work or not, but again, this pistol goes back many years, and Brad did a great trigger job on this pistol, keeping all the original M&P parts, but changing things out a bit to make it really a great trigger. The other pistol I'm comparing it to today is the Glock 45. And yes, this has the ramjet and afterburner from Radium Arms. It also has the Glock performance trigger, which is a huge upgrade, and some upgraded sights. So I'm not comparing stock to stock, but if I were just talking about stock, because all these pistols at one point were stock, what do I really like about them? So the first thing I want to talk about is ergonomics. Now, ergonomics are highly subjective. If a pistol fits your hands, you're going to say the ergonomics of this pistol are outstanding. It's better than anything else. And I started out primarily shooting 1911s and then Glocks. I started with a Glock 17, Gen 2 Glock 17, and I shot thousands and thousands of rounds. So people gripe about the grip angle of the Glock, and they feel like there's this hump here, and they don't really like that. I think that's just a training issue. If you shoot a pistol a lot, and that's your primary sidearm, you're not really thinking about, well, this grip angle isn't as good as something else. It's how it fits in your hand. That being said, the Smith & Wesson M&P series, I have to say, fits my hand better. Also, you have interchangeable back straps, which help change the frame size of the pistol. Now, the Glock also has some things that you can do, and they have these external straps that you can put on to get a larger grip. But in terms of my hands, this is the pistol that once I held it, I was like, fantastic. It really fits me. Now, the 1.0 versions have the extended beaver tail, and I really wish M&P would have kept that because on their 2.0 pistols, they removed that. Now, it's still pretty good because you get a really high tang grip. From my perspective, the Glock has a very similar setup here in that you can get a very high tang grip. The Glock and the M&P has a low bore axis, lower than many other polymer frame pistols. And some people don't care. It does not matter to them. For me, that really makes a difference because I'm handicapped, I have issues, and the lower the bore axis, the closer it is to the trigger, the less muzzle flip that I feel because the way in which the gun is recoiling. The higher up the bore is from my hand, the more flip that I feel. These, that part of it in terms of how it fits, the tang and in the hand, slight advantage to the M&P for me. I've shot Glocks for 20 years. I like Glocks. I think they're incredibly solid pistols. I just give a slight edge to the M&P, and it doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether we're talking about Gen 1, 1.0, or 2.0 pistols. They just fit my hands a tad better. I want to talk about sights. You've heard me talk about this before. The M&P pistols come with iron sights. It's a 3-dot setup, and I have a used police trade. This is a 45 ACP Glock 1.0, and they have tritium sights. This particular is a police trade, so it has tritium sights. It's a 3-dot sight system, but again, steel, iron, like they're durable. You can, right out of the box, you don't have to swap them out. With the Glocks, you have that plastic sight. Some people like it. For me, I feel that Glock can do better and provide their night sights, which you can buy as an aftermarket part. But right out of the box, I'm not happy with the Glock sights at all. I always replace them like I did with this particular pistol. The other thing I would note that out of the box, especially with the M&P 2.0 with the new design on the trigger, it has a better stock trigger. Very short reset. And not much. I mean, yes, there's some space here, but there's not a lot of creep. You hit the wall, it's nice and clean. A Glock trigger, stock Glock 5.5-pound connector, which the M&P is on this pistol is just about 5 pounds, so slight difference. But I think that trigger is better, again, out of the box. I did upgrade the trigger of this particular pistol with the Glock performance trigger, which is much better than your stock trigger. And but again, it is that Glock trigger. So you've got obviously your safety here, but once that's engaged, you're coming across. Nice tactile reset on both of these pistols. So trigger, slight advantage to the M&P. How about other parts? So the Glock recoil springs are not made out of steel. The M&P recoil springs are. So that gives you a little more weight up front. Now the Glock springs, at least the newer versions, have essentially a spring and a spring, and I think that does a slightly better job mitigating felt recoil. So I call that a wash between the two of them. You get the weight up front with the standard M&P recoil spring, and with the Glock you don't get as much weight, but you do have a spring that has two essentially coils, spring inside a spring. So maybe it's a wash, maybe, you know, for recoil mitigation, it's a slight edge to the Glock, but again, it's kind of a wash. Well, in terms of durability, both pistols, polymer frame pistols, are incredibly durable. For your average shooter, they will never put 20,000 rounds through it. and I have an M&P 1.0 5-inch performance center pistol that I sold to my son. It had 27,000 rounds to it. And finally I just said to my son, I said, hey, this is yours. And so that's like his pistol now. And he shot Glocks, and what he found for him, and he also has small hands, I don't have giant hands, that the ergonomics were just better than Glocks, although he really likes Glocks and he thinks they're great. Let's talk about one of the fundamental things. So we talked about durability, right? We talked about sights, we talked about ergonomics. Both of them are, provide combat effective accuracy. I mean, as much as you need. These are not designed to do weapons. They're not designed to be shooting bullseye, although you probably could shoot bullseye competition with them. But that's not what their intended purpose is. Their mission is a duty weapon or a personal protection tool. So I don't think that the accuracy thing, to me, I find them totally, they're far more accurate than I am as the operator. Here's where I give the Glock a heavy advantage, and that is on simplicity with regards to parts. It is very, very simple to replace a trigger, to replace springs, to do anything you need to do with the Glock. You don't need special little things and then a takedown situation where you're capturing all these little springs. You don't need any of that. And that simplicity has a huge advantage because it allows anyone, me, with my handicap, to be able to work on a pistol, upgrade the parts, and be able to detail strip the pistol, clean the pistol, do whatever I need to do. Getting into the M&P is a whole, level of difficulty that's higher than the average person with average skills or average tools is going to be able to deal with. The Glock tool, this is what you need to detail strip your pistol. This. One pin punch. That's it. There is nothing else to do. So that to me is a huge advantage to the Glock. So you've waited around all this time and you're wondering, what is the pistol I'm going to pick? Well, I'd have to say I really can't between the two. Probably given the simplicity, again, I'm just talking about battlefield pickup, bad conditions, you have to be able to steal parts from other Glock pistols or other pistols to keep your pistol running. There are millions and millions and millions of Glock pistols, Glock 9mm pistols. So you could, if you had to, you could find parts that are far more available. It's not saying that you can't get aftermarket parts, because you can get aftermarket parts for both. I mean, Apex makes some great trigger upgrades. There are all kinds of things that you can do for your Glock or for your M&P pistol, and those are really nice additions if you want to go that way. But in terms of just simplicity, utilitarian sort of approach, it's like the Volkswagen of pistols, except a hell of a lot more durable than a Volkswagen. So I think at the end of the day, when I look at pistols, they're all tools. I don't really care. I'm not wedded to any brand or make. I own SIGs. I own a Beretta. I own, lots of different pistols. But when I look in my safe, the primary pistols that I own are Glocks or they are M&P pistols. I have tried a bunch of other polymer frame pistols, and they're good. They just don't fit my hands. So at the end of the day, guys, you really have to go, ideally if you can't, rent a pistol, shoot it. The majority of people that I've had that have shot the M&P and actually just, said, well, I'm going to forget about how it looks or whether or not it's made by Smith Wesson or whatever. For some reason, people have never really given this pistol its due. And frankly, that's shocking to me because it is incredibly durable. It's incredibly accurate, and it's just as durable as the Glock. absolutely, it puts up with lots of crap. I mean, both these pistols, you can, you know, as long as you keep some level of light lube on them, they keep going. Doesn't mean they have to be cleaned, but if you do and you shoot good quality magazines, you know, factory magazines, then whether you're using, you know, in this case of Glock 45, it would be a 17 round magazine. Same thing with a M&P 9mm. If you live in a free state, you know, it would be a 17 round mag. But you can get aftermarkets, or you can get a, you know, a magazine like this that gives you 19. So it'll give you 19 plus 1 in your Glock, and you can get other, you know, base plates that will extend that, or you can get M&Ps, and this is, I think it's a 23 round magazine, 22 round magazine, 21, I don't know. But so you can increase the capacity without really dramatically increasing the size of the pistol. And with the Glock, that works great. Bottom line, folks, either one of these pistols would serve you well, as would any of the other quality polymer frame pistols from any of the major manufacturers. These two pistols, for me, have proven themselves time and time again for reliability, durability, and combat effective accuracy. And at the end of the day, if they do that, then I'm happy. Well, hopefully this answers the question that I had from several subscribers. I certainly appreciate those questions, and hopefully this provides some clarity on the age-old question, if you could only pick one pistol, what would it be? Well, fortunately, I haven't had to pick yet, and frankly, if I only had one weapon, it'd be a long gun, probably. That's just me. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you enjoy our content, please, please, please share it. Please share it, and invite others to the channel. That's all we got for you today. Thanks for watching. Finally, and as always, stay safe. So, all our shots are in. I'm right around 1.34, 1.35, 1.33, so nothing special. Slowing down here, up, look, sights are on, press. Finding the front sight, finding the target, breaking the shot. Look, sights, press. Up, look, sights, press, reset.